Hello and welcome to the Sunday School classroom. I want to take your picture. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, pose. And you can do whatever you want. You can pose like this, or you can pose like this, or you can pose like this. Every time I say pose, try to choose a different pose. Don't look around at anybody who might be with you in the room and do what they're doing. Do your own thing, okay? All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, pose. Good job. 1, 2, 3, pose. Okay, let's do it again. You ready? 1, 2, 3, pose. Ooh, you're good at posing. Once more. 1, 2, 3, pose. I love how you posed for the pictures. You didn't look around and see what everybody else was doing. You did your own thing. Our story today comes from the Bible. The Bible is God's words to us. It is true and trustworthy. Well, today we're going to talk about a man named Daniel. You might remember that I told you in a previous lesson about the Israelites who had been choosing to do wrong things. Over and over, prophets, messengers of God told them to do right and turn around, not to sin and to follow God. But they didn't heed those warnings, and now punishment had to come. They were captured and taken to a land called Babylon. Well, while in Babylon, a man named Daniel was there, and he still loved God, and he wanted to follow God. So the king had provided some food for Daniel and all the men in the king's court. Daniel and 3 of his friends knew that in Leviticus, it tells that God wanted the people to eat certain foods and not to eat certain other foods. Well, some of those not to eat certain foods were included in the king's food that he was giving the men in his court. Well, Daniel said, everybody else here is eating this king's food, but I know that God said these foods on this table are things that he told us not to eat. And so he had to make a choice. He had to choose, would he do what everybody else around him was doing, or would he do his own thing? He decided that he would follow God. He would stick with God no matter what. And that's just what he did. He didn't eat the king's food. In fact, he said, give me vegetables and water, and I'll eat that. And they can eat whatever they want, but I'm going to follow and obey God. Well, the person in charge of giving the king's men food said, I don't think so. I'm afraid of the king. If you just eat vegetables and water and you get really weak and sickly, the king will see that and he'll get mad at me. But Daniel said, let's just try it. Let us eat the vegetables and the water, me and my 3 friends that want to follow God and stick with God. And then at the end of this time, you see which ones of us look better. So at the end of this trial period, actually the king's men who had been eating all of the king's choice foods looked worse than Daniel and his friends. They looked healthy and strong. Wow, that was amazing. Daniel stuck with God and God blessed him. So today we learned that we can stick with God too. Let's sing a little song to help us remember. For our song today, I want you to take your hands and pretend that they're really sticky. Pretend that they're stuck together like this. So grab your hands, put them together, and pull really hard. Pretend that they're stuck. All right, so here's the song. It goes like this. Daniel chose to stick with God. Daniel chose to stick with God. Daniel chose to stick with God. I can choose God too. Let's do that again. Pretend that your hands are super sticky. Are you ready? Daniel chose to stick with God. Daniel chose to stick with God. Daniel chose to stick with God. I can choose God too. Here's a fun activity that you can do today to help you remember to stick to God. So I just took a large poster board and I wrote G-O-D, God. And then I took some colorful Post-it notes and then I stuck those all over this poster. Every time I stuck a Post-it note, I said, I can stick with God. I can stick with God. And it was such a reminder that no matter what everybody else around you is doing, you can stick with God.